John Carter sat alone in the small outpost, staring at the cold, dead desert outside. The sky was dark, filled with silent stars that did not care if he lived or died. He had been here for 3 years, guarding nothing, on a planet that everyone had already forgotten. At night, he listened to the wind hitting the metal walls. It sounded like whispers, like voices calling from far away. Sometimes he thought he saw shadows move in the dust, but when he checked, nothing was there. John checked his old pulse rifle, cleaned it, and set it back down. He was about to close his eyes when he heard a sound. It was a soft knock on the metal door. It was too gentle to be the wind. John stood up slowly, holding his rifle. His heart was beating hard in his chest. No one should be here. No one should even know he was alive. He pressed the button to open the camera outside, but the screen showed only darkness. He heard the knock again, softer, like someone was too weak to knock harder. John moved to the door and opened it a little. Cold air rushed inside, carrying the smell of dust and metal. Outside, a figure fell into the doorway. John stepped back, raising his rifle, ready to shoot. It was a woman. She was covered in ash and blood, her clothes torn, her skin gray-blue under the dirt. Her hair was dark, falling around her sharp, alien face. Her eyes were glowing softly, filled with pain and fear. She tried to speak, but her voice was weak. She looked up at John with those strange eyes and whispered, "Breed me or banish me." John did not speak. He did not move. His finger was tight on the trigger, but he did not pull it. The woman fell to the floor, her breathing hard, blood dripping from a cut on her arm. She was shaking. Her eyes were closing, but she tried to speak again. "Please, they will come." John looked outside, scanning the dark desert, but there was nothing, only the dead wind and silent stars. He looked back at the woman. She was not holding a weapon, but he saw strange metal pieces on her belt. They looked like alien tools or small weapons. John lowered his rifle. He knew if she was dangerous, she could have killed him already. He knew if he let her in, danger would follow. But he could not leave her to die. Without a word, he picked her up. She was light, too light for someone her size. She smelled like burnt metal and smoke. He carried her inside and closed the door, locking it. He placed her on the small bed in the corner and checked her wounds. She had burns on her arms, cuts on her legs, and a deep bruise on her side. She opened her eyes and looked at him. "You help me?" she whispered. John nodded once. He did not speak. He took out a small med kit and started cleaning her wounds. She winced but did not cry out. Her skin was warm, even with the cold air around them. As he worked, she watched him with tired eyes. She tried to sit up, but he pushed her back gently. "Rest," he said, his voice low, unused to speaking. She closed her eyes, but her lips moved again. "My name?" "Sarah." John did not answer. He finished cleaning her wounds and covered her with a blanket. She was already asleep, her breathing soft but fast. John sat back, holding his rifle again, watching the door. His eyes moved to the small window, looking out into the darkness. He felt something he had not felt in a long time. Fear. Who was she? Why was she here? Why did she say those words? "Breed me or banish me." The words echoed in his mind like a ghost's whisper. Outside, the wind stopped. For a moment, and the silence was heavy. Then, he saw it. Far in the dark sky, small lights were moving, like eyes watching from the shadows. They were coming closer, slow but steady, like hunters smelling blood. John checked his rifle, loading it again. He checked the sensors, but they were not picking up signals yet. But he knew something was out there searching. He looked back at Sarah, sleeping with pain on her face. She was breathing, alive, but for how long? John did not know why he decided to help her. Maybe it was because she looked at him like he was the only hope left in the universe. Maybe it was because he was tired of being alone. But he knew one thing: they were coming, and he would be ready. The outpost was silent when Sira opened her eyes. She smelled metal and smoke. She felt the thin blanket over her and the cold air against her skin. For a moment, she forgot where she was. Then she remembered the lights in the sky. The hunters. She tried to sit up, but pain stabbed through her side. She gritted her teeth, breathing hard. "You're awake." The voice was quiet but strong. She turned her head and saw John, standing by the window, holding his rifle, watching the dark sky. "Where am I?" Sira asked, her voice dry. "Safe, for now." She closed her eyes, letting out a breath. "They will come. They will not stop." John glanced at her. "Who?" Sira's eyes opened, glowing softly in the dim light. "My people, they are coming for me." John said nothing, but inside, he felt the cold of fear. She tried to stand again, and this time he let her. She was unsteady, but she did not fall. She looked around the small room, at the metal walls, the simple bed, the flickering lights. "Why did you help me?" she asked, her voice softer now. John checked the rifle, loading a fresh charge. "You knocked on my door." Sira almost smiled, but it faded. "They will kill you too, if they find me here." John looked at her, his eyes calm. "Let them try." Outside, the wind picked up, but it was not alone. There was a low hum in the air, like insects buzzing, growing louder. Sira's eyes widened. "They found me." John moved to the scanner. It flickered, showing red dots moving closer through the dust storm. Fast, many of them. "How many?" John asked. Sira closed her eyes, focusing. "At least 5 scouts." "More." "Will come if they signal." John nodded once. "Then we stop them here." Sira looked at him, surprised. "You would fight them?" John loaded a second rifle, tossing it to her. She caught it, her hands remembering the weight, the cold metal. "I didn't let you in to give you up now," John said. She checked the charge, nodding. Her eyes were sharp now, warrior eyes. Together, they moved to the doorway, shutting off the lights inside. Darkness wrapped around them, but they could see the shapes outside, moving in the dust, shadows with glowing eyes. Sira whispered, "They will not speak. They will not give warnings." John raised his rifle. "Neither will we." The first shape moved closer, a low clicking sound echoing. It was tall, wrapped in dark armor, with sharp claws and glowing red eyes. It sniffed the air, looking for her scent. John waited, steady, breathing slow. The moment the creature stepped close enough, John fired. The pulse shot lit the dark, striking the creature in the chest. It screamed, a high, alien cry, and fell to the ground. The others hissed, rushing forward. Red lights appeared in the dust as their weapons charged. "Move!" Sira shouted. They split, taking cover behind metal crates as pulse fire tore through the doorway, burning holes in the walls. Sparks flew, lighting up Sira's face, showing the fear and the fight in her eyes. She fired back, hitting one in the leg, dropping it with a scream. Another tried to climb through the window, but John swung the rifle like a club, smashing it back outside, then shot it twice. Leaving it silent, they moved together, clearing the outpost room by room, each step careful, each breath heavy. Sira's shoulder bled again, but she ignored it, focusing on the last hunter hiding near the back wall. She stepped out, aiming carefully. Breathing in, she fired. The last hunter dropped, its weapon clattering to the ground. Silence returned, but it was heavy, filled with the smell of smoke and blood. John lowered his rifle, scanning for more signals. The scanner was clear, but he knew it would not stay clear for long. Sira fell to her knees, breathing hard. John moved to her, checking her wound. It was deep, but she pushed his hand away. "Listen," she said, looking into his eyes. "Then they will send more. They will not stop. They want me alive. They will take me and use me. I will not go back." John was quiet, watching her. She was shaking, but not from fear. "I will leave if I must," she said, her voice breaking for the first time. "I will not let them kill you." John looked out at the dead desert, the sky already showing more lights moving, far away, but coming closer. "No," he said, gripping his rifle tighter. "You're not leaving." Sierra looked at him, confused. "We fight together, John," said Dot outside. The wind howled again, carrying the promise of the storm to come. But inside they stood, ready, side by side, against the darkness. The outpost smelled of burnt metal and blood. John checked the scanner again. More red dots, closer now, moving fast across the dead sand. Sierra stood beside him, tightening the straps on the stolen hunter armor. Her glowing eyes were calm, but her hands shook just a little. "How many this time?" John asked. "7, maybe more," Sierra whispered. John nodded, checking his rifle, then hers. Full charge. They moved quietly through the dark halls of the outpost, placing small mines near the broken windows and the front gate. The wind screamed outside, carrying dust like tiny knives. Then silence. Sierra closed her eyes, feeling the vibrations in the ground. "They are here." A low, inhuman screech echoed outside. Shadows moved, red eyes glowing in the dust. John aimed. "Let them come." A hunter leaped through the broken window, claws raised, teeth bared. Before it could land, the mine exploded, throwing it back into the sand, black blood burning in the dust. Another crawled through the roof vent, hissing, but Sierra turned and shot it in the head. The pulse shot lighting up the dark like lightning. Screams echoed as more hunters rushed in, their blades shining under the flashing emergency lights. John fired, fast, moving carefully, never wasting a shot. Each pulse hit a target. Each target fell. Sierra fought beside him, silent, precise, like a storm in a small body. Her hair flew as she turned, firing at a hunter trying to climb through the window. The room filled with the smell of smoke, the flashing red of alarms, and the heavy sound of breathing. A hunter tackled John, slamming him into the wall, claws ripping at his armor. John growled, punching it in the throat, then shoving the rifle under its chin and firing. Its head exploded in a flash of blue light. Sierra screamed as a hunter grabbed her from behind, dragging her toward the door. She twisted, dropping her rifle, pulling a small blade from her belt, stabbing it in the neck until it let go, black blood spraying on her face. She fell to the ground, crawling for her rifle, her eyes burning. John saw her, saw the fear in her eyes and something else fire. He shot another hunter trying to reach her, then pulled her up. "You okay?" She nodded, wiping the blood from her face with the back of her hand. Then silence again. Their ears rang from the gunfire. Smoke curled around them. The scanner beeped softly. "Clear. For now." They stood there, breathing hard, looking at the bodies around them. Sierra's hands shook as she reloaded her rifle. "They will send more. They will not stop." John looked at her, his eyes cold but calm. "Why are they after you?" Sierra looked away, her voice low. "Because I am different. My people are dying, but they think I can change them, save them. But it means I lose everything, my mind, my body, my soul." John was silent for a moment. "They want to use you," Sierra nodded. "Yes." John looked around at the bodies, then at the broken window showing the dead desert outside. "Not going to happen," he said. Sierra's eyes met his, confused but hopeful. "Why?" John checked his rifle one last time, standing by the window. "Because they came to the wrong planet." Outside, the storm was rising, lightning flashing in the black sky. In the distance, more lights were falling from the sky, like stars crashing to the ground. The hunters were coming, but so was the fight. Asterisk. The wind screamed outside the outpost. John and Sierra sat in silence, their rifles resting beside them, their faces lit by the flickering lights. The dead hunters outside were already cold, their black blood drying on the sand. Sira stared at her hands, at the strange blue veins under her gray-blue skin. She flexed her fingers, then closed them into fists. John was cleaning his rifle, but he was watching her. "Why you?" he asked quietly. Sira did not look up. "Because I was born wrong." John waited. She took a slow breath, her eyes shining softly in the dark. "My people cannot change. We are locked in the old ways, ruled by the strongest, dying with our pride. But I was different. I could feel emotions they fear. I could hear the thoughts of others, even when they tried to hide them." She looked up, her eyes meeting John's. "They wanted to use me to breed a new generation. A generation they could control. They wanted me to be the mother of their army." John's jaw tightened, but he stayed silent. Sira's voice cracked. "They said, breed or be banished, but I ran. I did not want to be their tool." She touched the blood-stained armor she wore. "They hunt me because if they cannot control me, they will kill me." John put the rifle down, leaning forward. "And you came here?" Sira let out a sad laugh. "I did not want to come here. My ship crashed in your desert. I thought I would die alone. But I found your outpost." She wiped a tear that fell, smearing the blood on her cheek. John's eyes were calm. "You're not alone now." Sira blinked, shocked by the softness in his voice. She looked away, whispering, "Why are you helping me? You don't know me." John stood, checking the scanner, seeing more dots in the distance, slowly moving. "I was alone for too long," he said, "and I know what it's like to be hunted." Sira looked at him, her lips trembling. "They will kill you too." John turned to her, eyes cold, unafraid. "They can try." Outside, lightning split the sky, showing dark shapes moving through the storm. Hunters in lines, coming closer with each breath. Sira stood up, her body shaking but her eyes steady. "I will fight," she said. John tossed her a fresh charge pack. "Good." They moved through the outpost, setting more traps, checking weapons, working together without words. The hum of approaching engines echoed in the storm. Sira stopped at the doorway, looking at the dead sand outside. She touched the metal frame, closing her eyes. "I am tired of running," she whispered. John placed a hand on her shoulder. "Then we fight here," he said. She opened her eyes, looking at him with something new in her gaze. Hope. Outside, the dark was alive with the red glow of the hunter's eyes. The scanners beeped, louder now, counting down the moments before the attack. John and Sira stood side by side, rifles ready, breathing slow, their shadows long against the flickering lights. For the first time in her life, Sira did not feel like prey. She felt like she was ready to fight. The storm slammed into the outpost like an angry beast. Dust and sand pounded the metal walls. Inside, flickering lights threw sharp shadows over John and Sira as they moved through the narrow halls, checking traps, sealing old vents, loading weapons. Outside, the hunters waited in the swirling dark, red eyes blinking through the sand. They did not rush in this time. They waited, watching, smelling fear. But inside there was no fear left. John placed the last explosive near the main gate. He pressed the charge, looked at Sira. She stood at the broken window, her stolen hunter armor pulled tight, her eyes glowing like twin blue fires. "Ready?" John asked. She nodded once. "I am tired of hiding." A sudden roar outside, then silence. The sandstorm eased for a breath, enough to see shadows moving in formation. Sira stepped beside him. They brought a pack leader. John checked his rifle. "Good, we kill it first." A low hiss. Then, one by one, the hunters charged, claws scraping metal. Shadows rushing through the storm. The first hunter tripped a wire. An explosion shook the walls, fire lit the night. A scream. Another hunter fell into the pit trap John had dug at dawn. Metal spikes tore through black flesh. But more came. They crawled through broken vents. They smashed windows. They cut through thin walls. With blades burning white hot. John fired shot after shot, pushing them back step by step. His shoulder burned from an old wound reopened by a stray claw. He did not stop. Sierra moved like liquid shadow. She slid between metal crates, her rifle firing quick, precise bursts. She grabbed a hunter's arm mid-swipe, twisted, broke it, and shot it point blank in the face. Blood, smoke, metal. The outpost shook with screams and gunfire. Through it all, the pack leader watched from the dark, twice the size of the others, armored in black plates. Its eyes burning red like twin suns. It stepped through the flames, roaring at Sierra, its voice shaking the walls. Traitor! Sierra froze for half a heartbeat, her eyes wide. John fired at the beast's head. Sparks flew, but the armor held. Cover me! Sierra shouted. She tossed her rifle aside, pulled 2 pulse grenades from her belt, clicked them on. She ran straight at the pack leader as John laid down a storm of shots behind her. The pack leader swung a massive claw, too slow. Sierra slid under, rolled, slammed both grenades onto its back armor. It turned, roaring. Too late. She dove behind an old console as the grenades exploded in blue fire, ripping the pack leader in half. Its roar died in the storm. Silence fell again. Only the storm outside still howled. John moved to Sierra, pulling her up from the floor. Her face was streaked with dust and sweat, her chest heaving. You okay? He asked, his voice calm under the storm. She laughed. The sound surprised even her. Yes, she breathed. Yes. The scanner beeped again. John looked. The last few hunters were retreating, fading into the storm. For now, he turned to Sierra. They'll come back, next time with more. Sierra wiped blood from her cheek, eyes clear. Then we don't. Wait here. John raised an eyebrow. You have a plan? She looked at him, a strange fire in her smile. We don't hide. We hunt them first. John felt the corner of his mouth lift, the first smile in years. Good, he said. Let's show them what humans do when cornered. Outside, the storm raged on. But inside, for the first time, Sierra and John stood ready not just to survive, but to strike back. The storm passed, but the world outside was not calm. The sand was littered with black blood and broken armor. Smoke still rose from the outpost, drifting into the pale morning sky. John stepped outside, rifle ready, scanning the dunes. The scanner showed no red dots. Not yet. Behind him, Sierra checked the stolen hunter hoverbike, tightening the straps on the fuel cells. Her eyes were tired but focused, her hair tied back, her armor repaired with scraps from fallen hunters. You sure about this? John asked. Sierra nodded. Their nest is close. If we wait, they will bring more. I know the tunnels. I know how they move. John looked at her, silent for a moment. You lead, he said. Sierra blinked, surprised, then smiled softly. It was the first real smile he had seen from her. They mounted the hoverbike, the engine humming low as it lifted above the sand. John gripped the handle, and they shot forward into the cold dawn. The desert was silent, except for the hum of the engine. They passed broken rocks, burned wrecks of old machines, bones half buried in sand. Then they saw it. A canyon, dark and deep, splitting the desert floor like a scar. Inside, the shadows moved. Red eyes blinked in the dark. This was the nest. John parked the bike behind a rock, pulling out the last explosives. Sierra took a deep breath, her eyes glowing softly. If we kill their queen, the hunters will scatter, she said. John nodded. Then let's kill a queen. They moved into the canyon, sticking to the shadows. The rocks were sharp. The air smelled of blood and dust. Inside the tunnels, the walls pulsed with a faint red glow, alive with the sound of chittering and claws on stone. They passed nests of eggs, black and wet, pulsing with life. Sierra paused, looking at them, her jaw tight. They forced the females to birth these, she whispered, her hand brushing one of the eggs before pulling back. John placed a small charge on the nest, setting a timer. Not anymore. They moved deeper until they reached a large chamber, wide and dark, the ceiling lost in shadow. At the center, on a throne of bones and metal, sat the queen. She was massive, armored, her long claws tapping the stone floor. Her eyes were deep red, burning with hate. "Daughter," the queen hissed, her voice echoing like thunder. Sira froze. The queen stood, towering over them, her claws dripping with dark liquid. "You will return. You will breed, or you will die." Sira's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was steady. "No," the queen roared, leaping forward. Hunters swarmed from the shadows, crawling down the walls. John fired, pulse shots lighting up the dark, dropping the first wave of hunters. Sira screamed, pulling her blade, cutting down a hunter that leaped for her. John threw an explosive at the queen's feet. It detonated, throwing her back, cracking her armor. She roared again, the walls shaking. More. Hunters came, claws slashing, teeth snapping. Sira fought beside John, their backs together, moving like a single storm. She grabbed a hunter by the throat, slammed it into the ground, and shot it. John fired into the shadows, each shot clean, dropping another and another. The queen crawled forward, one leg broken, blood pouring from her mouth. She reached for Sira, her claws trembling. "You are nothing without us," the queen hissed. Sira stepped forward, raising her rifle, her glowing eyes cold. "I am more without you." She fired. The queen's head snapped back, then fell forward, silent. The chamber went still. John pulled Sira back as the charges they planted earlier exploded. Fire rushing through the tunnels, burning the eggs, the walls cracking. They ran, the tunnel collapsing behind them, the screams of the remaining hunters. Drowned by falling stone and fire, they reached the canyon's edge just as the final explosion ripped the nest apart, sending black smoke into the sky. They stood there, breathing hard, watching the smoke rise into the dawn. "It's over," Sira whispered. John looked at her, shaking his head slightly. "No, it's just beginning." She turned to him, her eyes questioning. "They will send others," John said. "They won't stop." Sira looked at the smoke again, then back at him. "Then we won't stop either." For the first time, Sira was not running. For the first time, she was fighting for her own future. And for the first time, John was not alone in the fight. The nest burned behind them, black smoke climbing into the dawn sky. John and Sira stood on the canyon's edge, breathing in the cold morning air, feeling the ground shake as the tunnels collapsed. It was quiet now. Too quiet. John checked the scanner. No red dots. No signals. Nothing. Sira touched the band on her wrist, the small device humming softly. She closed her eyes, sending out a signal. "What are you doing?" John asked. She opened her eyes, the blue glow fading. "Calling for help." John's eyes narrowed. "Help from who?" Sira looked at him, the wind pulling her hair across her face. "From those who still believe we can change." They stood there in silence, watching the smoke. Then, in the distance, a shape appeared in the sky, moving fast, cutting through the clouds like a blade. A ship, sleek, dark silver, humming with quiet power. It hovered above the sand, lowering slowly, dust swirling around it. John raised his rifle slightly. "Friends of yours?" Sira shook her head. "I don't know." The ramp opened with a hiss, light spilling onto the sand. Figures stepped out. Tall, wearing light armor, their faces hidden behind smooth helmets. They moved with careful steps, weapons across their backs but not raised. One of them removed their helmet, revealing pale skin, glowing blue eyes like Sira's, but older, wiser. "Sira," the woman said, her voice calm. Sira's eyes widened. "Mother." John stepped back, rifle ready. The woman raised her hand. "We are not your enemy, not anymore." Sira looked at John, then back at her mother. "You hunted me." Her mother's eyes softened. "We were wrong," Sierra shook her head. You wanted to use me. We wanted to survive, her mother said. But we lost ourselves. Behind them, the others lowered their weapons, waiting. Sierra's hands trembled. She stepped closer. Why? Are you here now? Her mother looked at John, then back at Sierra. Because you burned the queen's nest. You did what we could not. Sierra felt tears rising but pushed them down. What do you want now? Her mother took a breath. To start. Again, to let you choose. John lowered his rifle, watching Sierra. What do you want to do? He asked. Sierra looked at the ship, then at her mother, then at the endless desert around them. She turned to John. I want to help them change, but I don't want to leave you. John looked at the sand, then into her glowing eyes. Then let's change things together. Sierra's eyes widened. You would come with me? John shrugged. Someone needs to keep you out of trouble. Sierra let out a small laugh, tears falling. She wiped them away quickly. She turned to her mother. We will help, but we do it my way. Her mother smiled. Your way. They moved toward the ship, the ramp warm under their feet, the engines humming softly. As they stepped inside, the world outside was silent, the wind carrying away the last smoke from the burning nest. Sierra looked back one last time at the empty desert, the place where she was once prey. Now, she was more. And by her side was the human who showed her how to fight, not just to survive, but to live. The ramp closed, and the ship lifted, rising into the morning sky, leaving the dead world behind. Above, stars waited. A new war, a new chance, and this time they would not run.